Hello everyone. So, to start off, in this game, Elite Dangerous, you are the pilot of a ship in the Milky Way galaxy, and it is your decision on what to do and who to be, as the game is very sandbox-like. There are really no set goals or direction for the game. You just hop in your ship and go and create your own adventure. And you can do this in a large open galaxy that is all procedurally generated, and you work your way throughout this galaxy in order to gain influence and reputation through the various activities in the game, and you can use this influence and reputation to climb the ranks with the different factions that control different star systems throughout the galaxy, and also mold your character as far as who you side with and where your allegiances lie. So, to get right into the good things for this game, like I just said, there's a huge open galaxy to travel in, with a massive amount of star systems to explore throughout the galaxy, even so far as the developers claiming that there are around 100 billion different star systems, and judging by the galaxy map in the game, it can be quite believable, because there are a lot of star systems. There are also a variety of activities for you to do in this game, such as exploring the galaxy, as each of these star systems can be traveled to with your ship, and each has their own setup of planets, asteroids, and stars. And you can also travel to the different space stations located within these different star systems, where you can do various activities such as upgrading your ship, purchasing and selling cargo, and so on. You can also do starport missions, as each of these space stations has a bulletin board with a variety of different missions you can take part in, based on your reputation, influence, and what type of ship you have. You can also mine asteroids that can be found in some of the different star systems, and you do this by using mining lasers in order to chip off pieces of an asteroid, so that it can be picked up with your ship's cargo scoop, and then refined into valuable materials. Similarly, you can also collect cargo floating throughout space with your ship's cargo scoop, and then you can bring it to the various space stations located around the galaxy and sell it for a nice profit depending on the economy of the space station you visit. You could also be a bounty hunter in this game, as players can accumulate bounties on their head for breaking the laws in the different star systems, and you can go out and claim these bounties by destroying their ship and then traveling to the star system they were wanted in, and traveling to a space station in order to collect the bounty. Likewise, you could also hunt pirates in the game, as there are a variety of NPC pirates that you can hunt down and collect the rewards for killing, or you could live the life of a space pirate yourself by attacking innocent ships and taking whatever cargo they have within, but this can have certain penalties that you may need to deal with in terms of the law and with other players who might later try and collect any bounties you may get on your head for attacking innocent ships. You could also be a merchant and take part in the trading that occurs between the different space stations, as each space station has its own economy based on the different commodities within the game, and you can buy and sell these commodities between the different space stations in order to make a nice bit of money. You can also join and create wings, which act as groups of 4 players who travel together and do various activities in the game together, and they each share certain benefits from completing these different activities in the game. Now, while you're doing all of these activities, you earn credits, which act as a currency system for the game, and along with being used in some of the general activities you can take part in, such as trading, these credits can also be used for things like buying and customizing different ships in the game, as there are a variety of different ships you can purchase, around 20 to be more exact, and you can also buy different parts for these ships, but if you want to customize the color of your ship, you do need to buy the colors in a real money shop instead of with credits. The game also has a really fun combat system, and it feels like the right type of combat system for a space game, where you need to pivot around and try and fire at the enemy while also trying to stay out of range of their guns, and it just feels like it's naturally fit for the game. It's a good dogfighting style. It's really similar to War Thunder, if you've ever played that game. You also have the option to play the game in open play, which is multiplayer, or you could play it as a solo game by yourself. Now, with all that said, the game does have several bad aspects to it, which made the game very unfun and even almost unplayable at times. For instance, it is really, really hard to get started in this game, as there really are no controls intros, and you have to watch several videos in order to get started, and the game doesn't really give you direction on what to do or what you can do. It kind of just plops you in the middle of things and doesn't tell you which way is up. And the game does have a training section, but it was very confusing, and it really doesn't cover everything, and I had to resort to several online guides, and tabbing back and forth between the game and different guides got really old really quickly when I was trying to figure out how to do things in the first place. It's also really hard to get a hang of all the different controls, and it's very easy to get frustrated as there are a lot of controls in the game that need to be learned, and the game doesn't really do a good job of telling you what they do or how to use them. It mostly relies on people just reading guides or watching videos in order to get the idea of things. It can also be really hard to maneuver your ship, as in my case, using a keyboard and mouse, I often found myself flying off in random directions while trying to maneuver around simple objects or land in a docking bay. The game can also feel like it's just empty at times, as missions from the bulletin boards really lack variety, and it can tend to feel like you're repeating the same thing over and over again, and it just leaves the game feeling like it lacks content. And many of the activities in the game are extremely tedious and time-consuming, and they feel like they shouldn't take as long as they do. For instance, there was one mission that I had where I had to find one pirate in a system, and I spent 45 minutes trying to find this one pirate, and when I did find him, somehow he was out of hyperdrive and I managed to get up next to him. My weapons bugged out, and this is where I learned about one of the major bugs in the game, that your weapons can occasionally just become non-existent. So I found him after spending 45 minutes trying to find him, only to have my weapons bug out and become non-existent, and I had to sit there, watch him fly away, then tab out of the game, go to the internet, figure out that this was a bug that can occur, go to a space station, sell and rebuy my guns, and then spend another 30 minutes trying to find him until I just got bored and gave up. Trading missions also feel very bland, as it's just bouncing around between stations, and the only time that they can really get interesting is when a pirate or another player forces you out of hyperdrive and you have to fight them, but this only really happened once in a blue moon, maybe 2 or 3 times out of the entire time I played this game, and even then it was really easy to get away because all you need to do is relaunch hyperdrive and point your ship in a certain direction, and then you have the ability to just escape. Mining also had a major problem with feeling tedious, as all you're doing is just floating around between rocks shooting lasers at them, and collecting minerals in a kind of bland minigame where you just have to pivot your ship underneath the rock and it collects it. And it really just feels like the game lacks fun and engaging content. So yeah, these are my major issues with the game. I do have a couple other smaller gripes, like how if you accidentally accept a mission and then abandon it, you get a fine for abandoning the mission, but that can easily be avoidable, and all you have to do is just be careful when exiting the space station. So, all in all, while considering the experiences I had in the game, I would honestly rate it as a mediocre game, around 5 out of 10. Because while the game did have some moments where it was fun, it just felt like I had to squeeze enjoyment out of it and like it was a chore to play. In all honesty, the game doesn't feel like it's worth $60 to me. I feel like it would be better suited at $30 or $40 personally. The game is a really cool concept though, but it feels like it could have been done much simpler and could have had more variety in it to keep it more interesting and engaging, rather than just have it be fetch and gather quests with occasionally fun combat, exploration, and trading. And it really does feel punishing to do anything other than simple concepts, i.e. trade runs and mining, although like I said, mining can be very tedious, and it can even be hard to get into, once you figure out what parts you need and how to really get into it. Also, while trying to learn how to play the game, I did ask in local chat for some suggestions, and somebody did tell me to just turn on the music and enjoy looking at it, which I did find quite humorous. And the entire time I was trying to learn how to play the game, I was always hoping that I was doing something wrong, but looking back and reading guides on the internet, I really don't think I was. Also, an important thing to take note of is that I never really did play the original Elite Dangerous, so I might be missing some nostalgia factors that some current players of the game might be having, but altogether the game doesn't really feel right to me. If you don't mind activities that can feel repetitive sometimes and are willing to put up with the issues that I touched on, then you might be able to get more enjoyment out of it than I was able to get, but personally this isn't a game that I can see myself returning to. Anyway, those were my opinions and observations. I hope you all enjoyed this review, and if you did, please rate it thumbs up and subscribe. See you later.